You're listening to the House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome again to the Beaufort County's House of Cards. Great to have you on here tonight. This is a big night. We've got this show. We've got the presidential debate coming up here shortly. I want to fix some of my sound going on here. The big presidential debate, we're going to be done before then, so you'll not miss anything. Again, welcome wherever you are. Got a lot of people tuning in already. Fantastic. We appreciate you being here, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or you're listening via simulcast over bigpatriotradio.com. Let's see. What do we got here? Don't forget, on Big Patriot Radio, 5 nights a week, we do have some podcasts for you to listen into. We have got Monday nights, the New American Movement on at 7 o'clock, and again at 9 o'clock on the Big Patriot Radio Network. On Wednesdays, we have Corey Allen and the Overton Report, and that is at 8 o'clock and again in the 9 o'clock hour. Then Thursday night, we simulcast live here. Saturday in the 7 o'clock hour in the evening, we have our friend Ann Ubellis and the Southern Sense Radio Show. The Radio Chickadee, as she calls herself, will be on at 7 o'clock. And then Sundays at 7 o'clock is Andrew Southwick, our good friend from Florida, and Culture Crossroads. This week, the number one listening song, or requested song, rather, on Big Patriot Radio was by Luke Bryan and Knockin' Boots. How about that? And the number one cities for listening, Bluffton, South Carolina came in number one, and one listener behind. I've been paying attention to this, and I don't know who's out there, but we've got some listeners at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. How about that? So welcome into the top running for top listening city of last week.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
So if you are on Facebook, please like our page. And if you're on YouTube, like the channel, hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell. That way you'll know when we go live with what we go live with. You can always see that if you're on Twitter, just follow us. That way you're always in the know what's going on. Don't forget, at the bottom of your screen, please consider making a donation to the show as you see that info scrolling along the crawler there at the bottom. We want to keep access to the show completely free for you, but we need your help to continue to make that happen. So if you can do that, you can also send stars through Facebook. Any of that is much appreciated. Don't forget patreon.com/Beaufort County House of Cards. Let's see. What a busy week and busy night. We've got, again, the first presidential debate after the show. And again, we'll be all done, wrapped up for that. Tomorrow, the town of Hilton Head Island meets in the morning, strangely enough. And our sources tell us that the mayor and majority of council are ready to approve and pass the, in my opinion, very poorly written and horrible for the island municipal consent. That municipal consent will be given to the county. This is about the bridge, or it will be a bridge and not bridges. The superstructure, as we call it, and the 278 corridor project. Hey, we had extensive conversation about this for the last 2 weeks. I encourage you to go there tomorrow morning. Say your piece at public comment. Keep it civil, but say your piece and let them know. Remind them who they work for, and they work for you, the citizen, not the other bureaucrats. We've got several county council members tuning in right now, so I hope they also understand that they work for the people, not for special interests and for those that sit in the county buildings. Sometimes we forget that. Anyway, maybe something you will say tomorrow to the town of Hilton Head council members. Maybe it'll shake something up a little bit. And again, remind them they work for the people, not the self-serving big donors and special interest groups. And in this case, much like the Hilton Head Island Chamber of Commerce, also the Greater Island Council, again, two big money special interest groups that control the purse strings, and in the back room, the shadow governments. We'll talk about that. Those folks, the Chamber of Commerce, while the idea behind a chamber that is decades old is understandable, but those folks, times have changed. Times have changed. Those folks don't really care. I use that term loosely about those who live here. They're interested in bringing tourists here. They're wanting to bring people here, which the majority of us all were brought here by some reason or another. But there is a limit, and there's a limit that involves money. There's a limit that involves trust, both of which are lacking. Anyway, the municipal consent, again, it's a green light, if you will, paper that I'm sure is going to be explained to the citizens tomorrow morning there on Hilton Head, probably as a big show of gaslighting, in my opinion. But they'll say, hey, we have stipulations to the county. That's how they're going to sell this to you, I imagine. I call that balderdash, if you will, baloney. Signing this gives Beaufort County the necessary municipal consent, even though almost 2 years ago, 1 year ago, Chairman Passament had said, whether you do it or not, we're going to go ahead, which he's obviously wrong. And that just added to the list. Anyway, it gives Beaufort County, will give Beaufort County the green light to begin the process of that superstructure. Huge process. And, unfortunately, the folks that I talked to in the technical working group, some folks that live there on the north side, that ward, if you will, of the island, they're afraid that it's going to eliminate the quaintness and the simplistic virtue of Hilton Head Island with the completion of a superstructure that will amass 121 feet, give or take 4 inches, 121 feet of cars down to a choke point. The traffic system will get worse. I see that very, very easily. Why anybody else can, I don't know why. Don't forget to give us your comments. Love to hear from you while we're on comments, questions, concerns, whatever you have. We'll be glad to take them. What is so bad is that superstructure, again, yes, there's one facet that it's 121.4 feet wide, wider. Someone told me the other day it's wider than one of the bridges in New York City. I don't know. I'm not really into New York City, so I don't know which one it was. I don't remember. But the point of it is, from Bluffton to Hilton Head, we're going to have 121 feet. Measure that off in your yard. If you've got 121 feet, that's the width. It's not the worst thing. It is the worst thing. Okay? It's not worse than. It is the worst, because it's going to take traffic, increase the width, increase the lanes, and it's going to go to a choke point. For some reason, they don't want to address the choke point. We've got to have a bigger bridge, a superstructure, one bridge. It's unbelievable. Hundreds of, they could save the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. All they got to do is make repairs to the bridge that SCDOT has already said they will. Hey, Beaufort County, if you don't either fix or replace, whatever, we will come in and fix the bridge. You don't have to tear it down. Now, someone on town council had made the comment, well, we need to tear them all down so they meet, I believe it was federal seismic conditions. Okay, so does probably a vast majority of infrastructure in Beaufort County. And if you were to do that, you'd be in the billions of dollars. So that was a little bit disingenuous there, Mr. Alfred. The cost, the funding for this entire thing is not secured. It is not. There is SIB money. There's SCDOT money. The county has $80 million from the tax referendum from 2018, back when I was there. We're talking multiple times that what it's going to cost, and they don't have, they don't have the cash. They don't have it, but they want to go ahead and get going. We'll pay for it later. How long will it take? I mark my word. I bet you 8 to 10 years from now, they might be close to being done. Maybe.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what
Following
I'm
up from
talking about.
Following up from a story last week, a Bluffton group held a Black Food Truck Festival during the Juneteenth holiday festivities. It was during this food truck festival that event MC and community organizer Sharon Brown told a young lady that got with this outlet, Tammy Huddleston Lane. And this is a direct quote from Ms. Brown's Facebook page explaining her actions. What she told Ms. Lane, who, let me give you a little backstory in case you missed it. Ms. Lane was there at the guest of a gentleman named Johnny Red, who was a purveyor. I believe it was food, not 100% sure, but she was helping him. And the pay to help him, he said, hey, you can sell, and I think she makes, I don't know, earrings, necklaces, trinkets, whatever. You can sell some of your stuff here, as pay for you helping me. So evidently some folks complained that she was selling things and didn't have a permit. Understandable. Totally understandable. No problem there. But the MC, Sharon Brown, comes up to her and says, you got to leave. You got to leave because you don't have a permit. And by the way, you're not black, sort of thing. So anyway, from Ms. Brown's own Facebook page, she writes, so I spoke to the vendor, Tammy, and shared, if you have not paid to be a vendor, unfortunately, you cannot sell your jewelry. And by the way, this is a Black vendors event. That is from Ms. Sharon Brown. Ms. Brown went on to say at the end, she's just in awe. She can't believe she cannot believe that this is being sensationalized as a racial gesture. Gee, Sharon, how else would you like people to take it? By the way, you have to leave. And by the way, this is a Black vendor only event. White lady, you told her to leave. You said it. You admitted it. We said you said it. And you said you said it. Now, I have to say, Ms. Brown has presumed, and I said this last week, got some chuckles, but it's true. Ms. Brown has presumed that the victim here, Tammy Huddleston Lane, is not Black. She said this is a Black only vendors event. So she's assuming she's not Black. She has pale skin and something like strawberry blonde hair or something like that. Hey, maybe she's from South Africa. Maybe she's from smack dab in the middle of Africa and just happens to have pale skin. Stranger things have happened. With all that, aren't you being just a wee bit disingenuous, Ms. Brown? Just a wee bit disingenuous. You are allegedly, hear me out, you, Ms. Brown, are allegedly accusing someone of being a race other than your own for what appears to be either personal profit or racial profit. And my dear, that is a federal issue. How about this? And I said this last week. How about this? How do you know I am not Black? You assume that I'm a white guy. You might be surprised. Matter of fact, ever wondered, how does he get so tan? Like more tan than most kind of tan. Screen doesn't do it much, what's the word? Doesn't give the benefit of the doubt. But for those of you who see me personally, you know. Now, how do you know that that's a tan? You assume. You presumed by assumption something that you may not know what you speak of, like you did with Tammy Lane. Anyhow, since our last show, Ms. Brown has continued to insinuate online that she is the victim here. How about this for a leftist fringe progressive attitude? It's her that is the victim. What that tells us is that Ms. Brown is not really in favor of equity, diversity, inclusion. She's not really in for that. That's a smokescreen. She's not really in for it. That's what that, because she says she's the victim. Her supporters, who politically are the closest thing, to be totally honest with you, socialism and Marxism, and we went through that last week, are obviously not in favor of any support. If you sit down and think about it, they're not in or about anything having to do with the dream that Martin Luther King Jr. wrote about and spoke about. They can't be, for having this attitude, like Ms. Brown, like her supporters, who are talking socialism and Marxism and this, what's bad is really good, good is really bad, evil is good, all that, the reverse tactic of a liberal. They can't be in favor of what Martin Luther King said. Moreover, I find it interesting to a point and incredibly dishonest. More county council members join it. Awesome. Incredibly dishonest of the MLK Observance Committee here in Bluffton to take the stand that they did. They even came out and published, how it's, and they only mentioned that because this lady was trying to sell her goods without a permit. That is not the problem. Even she, Ms. Tammy Lane, admitted, she said, hey, that's not a big deal. I'm totally cool with it. I thought it was okay because Johnny Red, who, by the way, is presumably a black guy, he said, hey, for helping me, you can sell your stuff. Kind of like a little barter. Anyway, I find it intellectually dishonest, interesting that the MLK Observance Committee would take that stand. It is the nothing to see here, folks, attitude, because that is exactly what Martin Luther King Jr. did not want. His vision, his hope, his dreams were not of what has happened in this story of little sleepy Bluffton. MLK dreamed that one day the country will live out the true meaning of its creed and make it a reality that all men are created equal. He dreamed that his 4 children would one day live in a society where they'll be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Why cannot the organizers of this event do the same? Tammy in this story has been allegedly judged by the color of her skin. To those who ran the event, to those who accused her, or to those accused rather, of making racially bigoted statements, shame on you. Shame on you. We shame on you last week. I'm going to shame on you this week. Shame on you and the legacy Martin Luther King Jr. left all people, black, white, red, and green alike. Shame on you.
All the wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. Big Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.
22 minutes past the hour. Beaufort County Council Chairman Joe Passaman is back in the headlines after this week's normal council meeting opened with a letter or some kind of statement, whatever you want to call it, from the chairman saying that the recent press coverage and social media coverage of the hiring of the new county administrator being done in secret was just a fabricated story, says Passaman. In his letter, statement, whatever you want to call it, which, by the way, was not made public, that any of my sources, both in the media and out, have been able to find, didn't make that public. Passaman gets 5 full Pinocchios. He gets 5 full Pinocchios tonight. As a matter of fact, he gets so many, it's widely being said that one cannot tell the truth any longer due to so many Pinocchios. You can be the judge of that. Let's tell you the story. What we will tell you is this. Passaman never once mentions that in his, go back and watch the tape, the video's there. He never once mentions that he and council took several votes in executive session. As they told County Minion Attorney Tom Keaveney in the county attorney's office, to make an offer of employment to a Toby Chappell, whatever. Chappell, as we reported here weeks ago, made a counter offer. County council met again in executive session. voted on a counter offer and advised Kevany to make the counter. Chappelle took the offer, so then got back in touch with him and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm not interested. I'm out." So our calculations is that this is like 3 votes needed in private to be able to get to the point where a Mr. Toby Chappell, sorry if you're watching, Toby, took the offer, made a counter offer, and then got the new offer, and then said, "Sorry, I don't want you. I don't want to be there." They continued the same process with Michael Moore, at least 2 more secret votes in executive session, which is against the South Carolina FOIA laws and the ethics laws. All of a sudden, after these 2 you didn't know about it votes, they come out in regular session and announce that they are hiring, said Michael Moore. Lo and behold, he's in the audience. Now, he doesn't live down the street. He lives up in York County. He just happens to be there. Right. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. The fact of the matter is this. The leadership of county council, namely Joe Passman, Larry McKellen, allegedly continue to perform shadow governments behind the full body of county council. Same exact thing happened when Stu Rodman was chairman. And most of you by now have watched the video where I told him, "You're a nice guy, but you suck as a chairman. You need to resign." And he did. He did resign. Then in came Joe Passman, who we had conversations with and said, when I take the reins, he would be the voice of transparency. Now that has proved to be a joke, a complete joke. So here we are. We have proven over and over and over and over that Beaufort County Council is being led by an analogous team of snakes. The citizens of Beaufort County are now being asked to vote on what was originally $1.6 billion tax referendum. Now, after so much heat, it's been pared down to $950 million, just shy of $1 billion referendum, all of which is way, way, way too rich for the residents of this county. And now we were told at this week's, just the other night, I mean, this is Thursday, just Monday night, at this week's county council meeting, we're not making this stuff up. County council doesn't understand what the hell's going on. We're not making this up. We're providing it to you. Matter of fact, some of it comes from them inside the county. This week, we were told that if you being the citizens, don't approve and vote for this referendum, we are going to have to raise your property taxes. You have to be, we have to do a better job of educating these people, they said. This was stated by Councilmember Tab Tabernick and Mark Lawson. Let's take a look at the video. I want to share with you what happened at County Council. Let's take a look-see of what went on.
I just want to say, talk about representing the people. I believe we have more education to do for people. What I've heard people say is, where's the money from the infrastructure? Somehow they think the government's raining it down on us. Where's the money from the state 1% sales tax? That goes to our county transportation committee. So there's a misunderstanding there. There is no slush fund for this money to come from in our budget. If we don't pass the referendum and nobody likes a tax, it will have to be, as Mr. Lawson said, on your property taxes. And I don't want to raise millage. I don't think anybody wants to increase millage. So the option is the referendum. And I think if we continue to educate people, we might have a better response. That's going to be our job.
Mr. Bartholomew, you're
Well, there you have it. If you don't say yes for this tax, we're going to have to raise your property value. You know, that is, and that was Councilmember Tabernick speaking of herself and of Councilmember Mark Lawson. Let me say this. The word disingenuous, love that word, use it a lot. It was disingenuous for her to say that. It is also not remotely accurate or true for her to say that. She has, or they have no business to say that. If you don't vote for this, we're going to raise your property taxes. You dumb shits. We got to educate you more. What a slap in the face to the people of this town, this county. Well, I didn't mean it that way. Well, that's what you said. That's what happens when you sit on that dais. If you don't know what you're doing, foot to mouth becomes a disease, and out of it we're going to have to raise your taxes. It don't work that way, sweetheart. It doesn't work that way. It's an abomination and a complete abhorrence for her or him or them to make the threat of raising property taxes to gain a vote for a referendum, which, by the way, is totally illegal for a county council or a town council or a school board person or group to do by state statute. You can't do that. You have to remain impartial. You can have meetings, charrettes, things like that. They're supposed to be pro and con, but you can't go around saying, if you don't vote for this referendum, we are going to have to raise your taxes because you all are too damn stupid and we haven't done a good enough job educating you. Well, kiss my behind. That's right, Ivy. They're not. They're not. This group isn't either. But they continue to run a shadow government behind the scenes. And there are people in this county, I would venture to say a ton, who hear that and will say, well, I don't want my property taxes raised. I'm just going to vote yes. Because of the dagger, the cloak and dagger, the cover of darkness, the title of this, the secrets that they hold. Ha ha. That is bullshit. You can't stand up for that kind of crap. People, yeah, you may need to be educated on some things, and that's okay. That's not because we're dumb. That's because we don't, not everybody lives, eats, and breathes state law, county ordinance, or federal law. I'm telling you, others are telling you, they can't do that. That is illegal. I question that as well, Shannon. Are they smart enough to educate anyone? I deeply question that at times. Ms. Tabernick and Mr. Lawson, why did you blatantly say to the citizens that you would raise their property taxes if they didn't vote for this? Here's what I would do. Just putting it out there. And since a lot of them are watching, I hope they pay attention to this. You need to contact one or both of these individuals, no matter where you live, whether they're on Hilton Head, St. Helena, Dale, Bluffton, wherever. You need to contact them and tell them this is unacceptable. How dare you? How dare you use the threat of a property tax increase to get me to vote for a referendum? You can kiss my ass. You don't need to say that. I would also say contact the rest of them and tell them the same thing. I will not be forced to make a vote like you're extorting me. That's what this is. This is governmental extortion. Can you believe that? I mean, with everything that's going on, not only in the country or in the world, and the shit we've got going on here, but now we've got extortion? Are you serious? Let them know you're not going to be their little biatch, because that's what they want. And then tell them, we are going to vote you out. Sorry, but you got to go. You can either quit now or we're going to get rid of you, because this is crazy. It's crazy it's insanity when you get to the point of, if you don't vote for this, you dummy, we are going to have to raise your taxes. That is, Citizen Jane and Citizen John Doe didn't vote for this excessive spending. They didn't want this. How loud do the people have to be? Not that it's remotely the same, but the generalized subject is the same. Look at what's going on in Kenya, in Nairobi. The government came out with a new tax. People went batshit crazy. They lost it. They went wild in the streets, shooting, bombing, all kinds of crap. Now, by no means am I saying that's what needs to happen. I'm just saying those people had it up to here with tyranny, and they said no more. They broke. They snapped. I don't agree with that motive or that move, but they snapped. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired and being run over by government representatives who are supposed to be the representatives of the people. Maybe 9 folks on that council or however should listen to someone. I hear it from Tom Reach, as a matter of fact. I hear it from him. He's there for the people. He's voting what they tell him. He's the representative. He's not there as the Beaufort County's representative back to the 11th district of Hilton Head, Sea Pines, and Shipyard in Wexford. No, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. But you people are too stupid. You've got caught up in this power struggle, and you lost it. If you're not in Beaufort County, your county is not immune. Let me tell you. We got folks, again, off at airbase listening or watching right now, unless you're on the airbase, obviously. But if you're in, regular housing, you're not immune to it. If you're in Jasper County, you're not immune to this. You need to say to your representatives, hey, you see what's going on over there in Beaufort? No. We don't take threats. We ain't doing that. There was an op-ed in today's state newspaper. The writer was a gentleman named Matthew Hall. It was a great opinion article, but at the end of it, I quote him. It was really cool. He says, "quote If taxpayers can't see how that money was mismanaged, they should not just vote against a sales tax hike. They should vote out any council member who won't release the report." Now, way to go. And he's actually referring to a couple of things here, which brings me to the next subject. Obviously, the sales tax referendum tax hike. Replacement, it's replacing a tax. It's a tax. It's an increase. Put sugar on it. You take a turd and put sugar on it. It's still a turd. It's just a sweet turd. No thanks, Joe. So that's the first thing. Tax hike, comments made by council members that I just mentioned, completely drives. That's unbelievable. The other is the Haynesworth-Sinkler-Boyd report that has still never been released to the public. It's still never been released to the public. Did y'all know that? The Haynesworth-Sinkler-Boyd report is still not released. Old Joe's got his hands on that and wrapped around it. Hey, Helga, got his hands around that, and he ain't letting that loose. This is a taxpayer-funded report. It's right. Taxpayers pay for it. Joe didn't pay for it. Larry didn't pay for it. John Robinson didn't pay for it. You and I paid for it. The taxpayers. And we're not allowed to see it. Why is that? Ask them that. Why is that? Why is that? Did you also know that all council members have not been allowed to even see the report? Now, I shouldn't say all, because allegedly some have. Some have, as in two. We have information that came from inside the county's four walls that two members were allowed to see the report this week, as a matter of fact, while they were being watched in the executive conference room. Why is that? Why is that? These are elected representatives. Avi, I'll tell you why here in a second. These are elected representatives. Why you got a watchman? Why were the two council members allowed, but only in secrecy? Again, the secrets they hold. We also have it on good, but again, alleged information that the county attorney's office cornered the clerk to council and ordered her to remove a copy of the Haynesworth-Sinkler-Boyd HSB report from her hard drive. You heard me right. This information came from an insider in the IT department, where recently, and oddly enough, the IT director, Patrick Hill, abruptly resigned from his post. Now, Patrick Hill wasn't the one who tipped me on that. And as always, we never reveal our sources. We keep them very tight. But I can say it was someone in the IT department. That insider has provided excellent information. Again, it's all alleged at this point that the clerk to council's office even had security cameras installed, and she was part of a surveil. She was being surveilled, allegedly. Some kind of scheme of the administration and allegedly the county council chairman. All completely alleged at this point. But back to the report. The HSB report on the audit of county spending and financial practices was, under Eric Greenway, was the crux of the report, the reason of the report. They were to go back from like January or something, 2023, to July or something like that. There was a time, it was from here to here to investigate, to do an audit. The interesting thing we have been told is back when the audit was ordered, the task was given to county attorney's office and allegedly Tom Kebney to find the people to do this. So you might recall that it was asked, why did you hire a law firm and not a financial firm to do this? That was asked of county council, and they were told the county attorney's office and or county council chairman response to all this. And of course, I'm paraphrasing here. HSB are experts in this, and because they are a legal firm, they have the resources, et cetera, to do this with financial people in-house. This is the best way to do it. Now, since it's done, now the truth can come out. Now it can really be observed in a big umbrella, because county attorneys hired a law firm to do this. The county attorney's office now has the card in his pocket and in his hand that nothing can be given to the public. Nothing can be FOIA'd without his approval because of attorney-client privilege. You see the sleight of hand trickery? Well done. Well done, mate. You got us. If it were to be a financial firm, that would not prevail. So we reached out to Haynesworth-Sinkler-Boyd just the other day and got in touch with lawyer Nicholas. He's the gentleman who stood in front of county council. We asked him, quote, hey, I'm a taxpayer and I want to see how my money was spent. I want a copy of the Beaufort County report. After immense, and I'm talking immense stuttering, stammering, stumbling, He said that he cannot say anything about the Beaufort County report. And get this, quote, due to attorney-client privilege, I cannot release the report. You should probably go through a lawyer to get it. Interesting, don't you think? And county council does not understand, why in the world do people not trust us? Do they sit around? Do they sit around and murmur amongst themselves? I don't know why they don't trust us. I don't know. But if they don't pass the damn tax referendum, I'm going to raise your property taxes. Is that what we come down to? Pass it, or we're going to raise your taxes. We're going to let this play out a little bit. We're going to let this play out because I've got cards and they're right here. I'm going to let it play out. There are some balls in play. I will leave you with this on this particular comment. We have allegedly heard Passament say the report is short, or it's a page or two, or it's very simple. The truth of the matter is, according to a source at Haynesworth Sinclair Boyd, according to a source at HSB, the report is 34 pages long. Let that sink in. Also, let this sink in that this is yet another example of why the county attorney's office, who is hired by the administrator, does not have the citizens of the county's best interests at heart. If they did, the county attorney, would release the HSB report to the public. I've been saying this for years. You got to have two sets of legal counsel, one for the county government and one for the council, the people. We have our guests in the green room. We're going to get to her in a second. But if the county attorney served the people, whatever, would release the HSB report. They serve the master of the government vis-a-vis the county. County council should have its own legal representation. I give you another example. Jasper County Council recently hired itself an outside legal firm to represent county council, the people, in a legal battle with their county treasurer. Why? Because county council represents the people, not the county's attorney. This whole thing, and we're going to get to our guest right now. She is the former, I think she was the head of the Beaufort County Tea Party, created it. She has been involved for years. Ever since I've known her, she's been involved. Has a podcast that we show here on Saturday nights at 7:00 on bigpatriotradio.com. Joining me now, please welcome Ann Ubellis, the Radio Chickadee. How are you, Annie?
I'm just ducky.
Just ducky. Well, I'm glad. Thank you for being on here at such short notice. We got a lot of stuff going on tonight. We're getting ready to watch Sleepy Joe. Wonder how that's going to take off. But I want to play a small excerpt of your public comments from the county council meeting the other night, and then get some reaction from you. So let me go over here and we'll play. And you post the other night. Here we go.
This was the last one.
To those who are thinking about voting yes on the proposed 1% sales tax, I ask you to take into consideration the following. You're counting on our assumption that tourists will pay the vast majority of the tax. However, it is a repressive tax that will hurt the economically challenged the hardest. Since 2010, household medium income countywide fell from 66,200 to 58,994 as of 2021. That is 77.73% of the national average of 74,606. Approximately 1/3 of our population in this county is over 65 years old. While tourism brought in approximately $2.4 billion in revenue to the county, not all was sales taxable. Tourism tax revenue, by my quick calculations on figures provided by the College of Charleston School of Business March 2022 report, was approximately $18 million. Multiply that by 10 years, and 180 million is a far cry from 950 million. So with the drop in average medium income countywide, the advanced age of our population, and a repressive sales tax means this tax will hurt the middle and lower income longer and harder, and the tourists will go back home with their dollars intact. This tax is too big and exactly the wrong inflationary economic time. We want to know exactly how much money is left over from the 2018 sales tax and how is it being applied? What is the additional cost on each unfinished 2018 tax project? How much federal and state money are you applying for with the greenway projects of mixed-use pathways and bikeways, and how will it offset project costs? What is the savings to the taxpayer? Will it reduce the total tax referendum collection and term? There are currently 9 ethics investigations on our current and former county employees, and the tax-paying public is kept in the dark, and yet you ask us to trust you. How can we, when the vast majority of the 2018 projects have not even entered the construction stage, when the report about corruption and malfeasance has not been fully released to the public? You modify the referendum to make it look like you're serious about accommodating our concerns over this referendum, yet you keep in place 2 slush funds with no current accountability or specific restrictions for usage, and you ask us to trust. No, we don't. Social media is ablaze with dissatisfaction on this tax referendum. So go ahead, put it on the ballot. In 2020, we defeated you by 70%. We will do it again. Thank you.
There you go. That's Ann Ubellis the other night at County Council.
And that was calm.
Yes. Yes, it was. What I don't know when you got. I didn't see you come in the green room there, so I don't know how much what you heard me say. But this we take it from 1.6 billion to 950 million.
Right.
That you should be thankful, and then they have the gall, the audacity, while you were sitting there, to say, if you don't vote for this sales tax, you stupid people, which need more education, we're going to raise your taxes, your property taxes. Is this not one of the most egregious lines of shit I've ever heard come out of county council?
Well, I shot off an email this morning thanking 2 county council members for voting no. I then mentioned my own county council member who waffled and in the last second voted for it. And I said, I appreciate the fact that you did dwell on it, but however, had he voted no on it, it still would have gone forward as a referendum. He would have been on record voting against it. Yeah. So I told him that was a missed opportunity. But he also gave me a little insight that they're having a problem with transparency. Now, he's claiming it's coming from the staff and not from the county council itself. But I don't know if you caught in today's Island Packet, Beaufort Gazette, an article by Sebastian Lee about county human resources boss telling all county employees to shut their mouths.
Yes.
Everything must go through the public information officer. So excuse my language, but if you fart and the constituent asks you, what's that smell? You can't say anything.
That's right. That's exactly right. Reading that, and I read that. I had already prepped for the show and doing some last minute things. So I read that and I was like, oh my God, I can't. Telling the employees, and literally, y'all have got to shut your mouth. Don't talk to anybody.
So now the people that blew the whistle on the 9 individuals that were either current or former employees of the county with the malfeasance and misuse of funds, and we don't know how many county employees used the government credit card for personal use. Some taking themselves out to lunch, some buying themselves lingerie. These are not county items.
Right.
And there's a huge malfeasance and abuse of the county credit card. So you don't say anything because we if we get a sniff of it, we're going to have a problem and vote the county council out. Well, there's certain members that are now in our headlights. And you mentioned about raising the property taxes.
No.
Well, I raised that to my county council member, and I said, you know what? Passamonte, and you know the nickname I have for him, so I'm not going to say it on air unless you want me to.
This is a free talk show. You can say it. We let her rip here.
Well, I call him Pissant. I'm sure someone's already told him that that's my nickname for him. I said he shot himself in the foot when he threatened to raise our property taxes. Here in Beaufort County, the median real estate property tax that's paid is $1,319. That's the average. So if you raise the property tax, and they can only raise it, I think, between 4 and 5 mils, but even though you say 10%, say for example, as generous as 10%, that's only $132 a year that one individual pay for a household.
Right.
All right. So now all that sales tax that household would have brought in, they're not going to get. They would have gotten 2, 3, maybe 5 times much more money with the sales tax had they pared the sales tax down to something reasonable that we could vote for. And I appeared each time they read this, I appeared 3 times in April and twice in June and spoke out on different aspects of this. And when I mentioned this to my county council, because you know what, you're right. If we do raise the property taxes, it's going to be nominal compared to what we can bring in with a sales tax.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, unfortunately, and a lot of this is, I struggle with ignorance and stupidity. And I think there's
arrogance.
And
I
arrogance.
I would say more so arrogance.
What really chafes my ass is the extortion attempt, as I like to think of it, by the other night when they said, if you don't do this, we're going to do that. And that's almost extorting the people of the county. Now, as you say, and I agree 100%, sales tax in as a subject is regressive to begin with. Mm-hmm. And typically it hurts those that have the least the most. Because of old Joe and the hoe, you're paying, what is it, $5 or something for a gallon of milk? I don't know. Unfortunately, everything else is so friggin' high, so they're already not able to buy. Let's stick it to them a little bit harder. This is in generalized talk. This council, sans a couple of members, is the most dysfunctional group of children. And I hate to even, make a joke of children. This group is horrible.
Well, actually, I would not insult children, because children have respect for the individuals, adults especially. This county council, specifically the chair, in which again I mentioned to my county council member, I says, the disrespect of the chair to individuals that are adverse to his policies, specifically now the sales tax, that challenge him on it. When I appeared before, on the second time they were doing the second reading, he introduced every single person coming forward for comments as their full proper name. Mm-hmm. When he called me forward, he said, Ann. Yes. I'm sorry. You're supposed to say my full name because it goes into the record. It's a requirement to enter my full name into the record if I'm going to make a public comment. But he didn't do that. So I said my own full name. Yeah. This time around, word must have gotten back, because I was pissed off about that disrespect. Every single person that stood forward, specifically speaking against the sales tax, he introduced them by their first name. 5 individuals came forward, and each one he called by their first name. Mm-hmm. A few of them did not give their full names, which is not in compliance with the rules and regulations for public meeting. Mm-hmm. And I pointed this out deliberately. Right. And when I sent my email, I also said this. It was complete disrespect. It was lack of decorum. Mm-hmm. So that email went out to every single county council member today. And I'm telling people out there, listen, you got a voice. All government, all politics starts locally. If you don't look at what your county council or your school board is doing, then you're going to lose your voice. So if you see something, you say something.
Absolutely.
Reach out to your representative. But if you're reaching out to county council, talk to all of them, not just one.
Absolutely. Would you agree with me? And I say this a lot, and you've probably heard this, but county council, the county council member is the representative, the voice of the citizen. not the voice of the government. And when you look at those bad actors on county council and start at the top with Passament and McKellen, you can see and work your way down. You can see those who are in it for the power and are representatives of the government. They're not representing the people. What causes that?
Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Say that
And
again.
this
Absolute
power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Someone posted on Nextdoor in one of the debates we had about the sales tax that this is why we should trust our elected officials. They know better. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. I'm of the bicentennial generation, and I'm steeped in what the founding fathers intended for this country and this government.
Absolutely.
It is a representative, democratically elected republic. They are answered to we the people. So no, unless we hear all voices on an issue, only then can we get to the right solution for it. But he's not allowing all voices. He wants to say, oh, well, we elected you to do the job, so now I abrogate any responsibility for my community. No, each and every one of us is responsible for what goes on in our community. If we don't speak up, then you abrogate that responsibility.
You know, I said this earlier. It wasn't quite the beginning of the top of the hour. What's going on now it's like I'm having flashbacks, Ann, from Stu Rodman and Paul Somerville. I'm having flashbacks. I think I need a therapist.
Oh, I know you do.
You know, I mean, I want to tell Joe, and he was watching earlier. I want to say, you know, Joe, you seem to be a nice guy. He likes nice cars. You know, he's got a $100,000 Corvette, nice car, but you suck as a chairman. Plainly, Stu Rodman left his soup around because you ate it, and it's horrific. Is it ever going to get any better?
I pray that it does. I do pray it does. If we had someone of Wes Newton's caliber, that you knew you had someone honest there, someone that wasn't doing a backroom deal. And that's what I'm afraid is happening here. I'm getting little whispers, so I'm not going to make any complete out and out allegations, but I'm hearing little humming in the background that certain developers have been having members of the council their ears. Yeah. There's an individual, happens to be a friend of mine. We have one of the projects here from the 2018 sales tax that was not completed. That's in this new sales tax that we're being double dipped for, is called the airport frontage. For those that live on Ladies Island are aware of it, heading out to St. Helena and Fripp and out that way. At the entrance of Walmart, they put in a traffic light and they built a street. It is a multi-million-dollar U-turn to go from the entrance of Walmart at the traffic light, go around and come out on Lost Island Road. The two streets are not even a quarter mile apart from each other. Now, it was supposed to lead to another piece of property on Little Creek. Well, the owner of that little piece of property was approached by county council, and they said, give us your property. He goes, no, give me fair market value. No, we want you to donate, to give us your property. My family lives here. I need this entrance to get in and out, but if you give me a fair market price, we can make a negotiation. Yeah. Nope, we're not going to do that. So we've got a multi-million-dollar U-turn because county council would not give a property owner his constitutional right for remuneration for property taken.
Wow. The gifts that keep on giving, you know?
You can't make it up.
Well, I'm sorry?
You can't make it up.
No, you can't. This shit you can't make up. I mean, this would be a bestseller. Wow. So tell us, I advertise your show whenever at the top of the hour when I come on here. Tell us about Southern Sense Radio. You're on at 7:00 on Saturdays on Big Patriot Radio, and tell all of and there's a ton of people watching right now. Tell them all why they need to tune in Saturdays at 7.
Well, first off, you didn't tell me you use the same streaming system I use. So I can actually send you the video next time so you can post the video. So they can see my smiling face with no makeup on, like tonight, with my Trumpy bear behind me.
That's right. That's right.
But it's southernsense.net. We're still trying to fine tune our homepage. I had someone working on it, and they kind of like dropped out and left me hanging. So I'm trying to find someone else. Anyone knows WordPress, get a hold of me. You can reach me at the BeaufortTeaParty.com also, or southernsense.net. But I do my live broadcast on Fridays, and every other week we have a friend of mine who writes for the Epic Times, or as he says, the Epoch Times. He's been a journalist for, oh God, as far as I can remember. I've known him for years, Mark Tapscott. He comes on every other week. We usually have someone every so often from the Heritage Foundation pops in.
Yep.
I go through several different publicists that send me a list, a guest that can be anyone from, at one point, Peter Navarro before he got arrested.
Right. I listened to that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fellow Paisano, or Judge Janine Pirro, who was a judge in New York City at the time. I was not New York City. She was upstate in Rochester County when I was in New York. No, I didn't know her, but I was a New York City cop at the time. Okay. So we had the cop and the judge. So it doesn't, I mean, this Friday, I'm going to have Dean Gomez, retired New York City police officer who has his own security business now that covers, I think, 4 different states now, really high-end security. And we're going to be talking to him about what is going on and why the streets are so unsafe. Thank you, Joe Biden. But we're also going to be talking about the debate going on tonight at 9:00.
That's right.
And it's going to be fun to see whether or not Sleepy Uncle Joe, or Creepy Uncle Joe, as I call him, makes it through there.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see that.
I don't think there's going to be a drug test, but doing a little research, there's a lot of different things they can give him, from B12 shots to Adderall to you name this whole cocktail that they can give him the day before and the day of to make him not sweat and make him look like he's alert and he can hear. So I want to see which hyped up Joe's going to show up on camera. Absolutely. And then watch Trump kick his butt.
Oh yeah.
But what I'm waiting for is when Trump finally pushes his button and Joe Biden turns around and says, "Come on, let's go outside." Yeah, exactly.
I wonder how the microphone will be turned off. All that baloney that CNN. I mean, juvenile.
But they're also keeping the media outside. Yeah. The media's going to be across the street.
It's empty auditorium, I guess. I don't,
Yeah,
just
so
go.
It's all going to be controlled. Yeah. And the media and the public is not going to see if in between how many commercials. I asked this: how many commercials are we going to see pop up? Is it going to be like every 5 minutes or 10 minutes instead of every 15 minutes, which is normal, just to make sure that someone gives him a little something under the tongue or something? And, oh, here's a little pat me on the shoulder. I'm giving you an injection so no one can see, type of thing.
Well, he's had Coke in the White House, so I mean, maybe it was his. I don't know.
Yeah. That'll keep him going. That'll keep him going.
And it's always good to see you. I appreciate your comments. Keep fighting the we're taxed enough already. Fight. I am proud to fight that with you.
Yeah, 15 years now, Joey. 15 years strong.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, tune in Saturday, 7:00 at www.bigpatriotradio.com, where it's 24 hours a day. 7:00 on Saturdays, you'll hear Ann Ubellis, the Radio Chickadee, and the Southern Sense Radio. Thank you, Ann, for being on with us.
God bless. Thank you.
God bless you. All right, dear. All right, we are at what are we at? We're at 5 minutes past the hour, 5 minutes more than I wanted to, but hey, when you've got great people like Ann Ubellis on, you take your time. Real quick, some celebratory news from Columbia. The South Carolina Department of Education new regulation regarding what books and materials such as sexually explicit that can be allowed in public schools has been passed into formal regulation now. Regulation 43-170, and it passed into law or final regulation without compromise in the General Assembly. It will be issued in the next South Carolina State Register and will be known. And once it's in there, then it becomes law. It'll be known as Regulation 43-170, the Uniform Procedure for Selection or Reconsideration of Instructional Material. This has been a multiple year fight. I want to thank over and over my good friend Avi Zalai, who worked alongside me as the complainants. Other folks, Julianne was there, Helga, Nancy. I know I'm forgetting a ton. But all the folks, David, all the folks who supported us and were there and fought in front of this, the Ladies Island, the beast of Ladies Island and her iniquitous imps who stood up to them. Thank you for supporting. And, hey, if we save just one kid from corruption and perverse, 5-year-olds learning what gay drag porn is and shit like that. If we could just save one, it's well worth it. So this is a big win. Thank you, especially Ivy. I want to definitely say thank you. You did the lion's share. You did the heavy lift. Thank you. So anyway, also the first type of judicial reforms in South Carolina passed out of conference committee in the General Assembly this week. The conferees committed to regulation changes, albeit very small. These changes are what they are. South Carolina remains one of two states that allows the legislature to elect judges. Virginia, the other state. Both states they're doing it wrong, flat out, and the majority of common-minded, thinking, able-minded people agree that this is wrong. Lawyer legislators electing judges that they then can go in front of. Anyway, the changes add the total number of people on the board, the JMSC, that does this. Legislators are still going to make up 6 or 7 or something of the 12, I think it is. These changes are small. And I tell a lot of people hey, you can't bite the entire elephant at one time. Take a little bit, or that you can't swallow the whole apple. Take a bite, and then a bigger bite, and then a bigger bite, and eventually you'll do it. That's what happens with this. It's not a great change, but it's a change. It's a little change. Now we take a bigger bite, and we go for bigger changes. So what's the end result? We, the people, can vote for our judges. We want to pass along to you all in the local area real quick. The Bay Point Foundation is going to have its 3rd annual art auction. I believe that's Saturday night. This Saturday night, beginning at 5:30 on Defusky Island at the Oyster House. You can bid in person. If you can't make it to the island, you can also do it online. Go online to BayPointIslandFoundation.com. That's BayPointIslandFoundation.com. For more information, if you want to buy tickets, if you need transportation over there, or take your own boat, all that, BayPointIslandFoundation.com. What other thing real quick? Real quick. Other State House news. South Carolina had their runoffs Tuesday night. Some of the important races to update you on. Senator Katrina Shealy of Lexington, one of the sister senators, has lost to Carlisle Kennedy. The other Lexington senator, Senator Setzler, he has retired and is getting out of the game. So Lexington County is going to have fresh new senators and puts them at the bottom of the totem pole. Sherry Biggs, a nurse practitioner and lieutenant colonel in the Air National Guard, beat evangelical pastor and Trump-endorsed Mark Burns for the GOP nomination for the Congressional District 3 up in the upstate. She virtually will be, even though they got to go through November, she will more than likely become the next congressman. And we'll have 2 females here in South Carolina. Charleston County Sheriff race runoff was won by Carl Ritchie. He bested Mr. Kitchens for the GOP nomination. Ritchie, who was the absolute favorite of this channel, will face ultra-liberal Sheriff Democrat Graziano come November. All right, everyone. Thank you for always tuning in. Hopefully, you're going to go to our Patreon page. Check us out there. You see it scrolling below. Any kind of donation, absolutely love it. Appreciate everybody that does that. I encourage everyone to pay attention directly what is going on around you, being sure your family and all are safe. Next Thursday is Independence Day. Happy birthday, America. We will be off. No show next Thursday, we're going to be celebrating America. We're going to sign off. We're going to get ready for the first presidential debate of 2024. This is going to be broadcast on CNN. I heard that Fox was going to carry it. I don't know how they do that. Also heard that MSNBC. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Multitude of places. Should be an interesting event. Major questions are, will Joe Biden be able to stay awake? Will Donald Trump come out throwing punches, or is he going to let Joe dig his own hole, which shouldn't be too difficult, unless, as Ann said, they've popped him up on, B12, maybe a line of Coke or two, some vitamins, a couple of IVs of vitamins and stuff and whatever. Will Joe Biden be able to remember why he's there in the first place? I mean, I don't know. I'm not being funny. That's true. It is, the man falls walking upstairs. Well, so do I. Anyway, he doesn't know where he is sometimes. So, in some realms, Trump could come out and only say, look at this, America. Point at Joe. Look at this. This is what we've got. We can do better. And end the show. That's what he could do. We'll see. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Again, take care of your friends and neighbors. Watch what's going on in the rest of the world. Very, very, very heated up moments going on out there. Don't forget, call your county council member and the others and demand we will not be extorted to vote for a bad referendum and be extorted that we're going to have our property taxes raised. We call that BS. Good night and watch your 6.